own space, justice is a long way away.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Spaz.
Hello.
Your co-host, Julie.
Hello from the great roasting north.
Oh, is it hot up there right now?
Very.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I hear much of our country is just baking right now. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, 2 days ago, it was cold.
Oh, God. Is it like that old joke, if you don't like the weather, wait? You know?
Absolutely. Anywhere in Illinois, that's what it's like. Wait 5 minutes.
Also joining us is your co-host, Thorsten.
Coming from the shivering cold Germany.
Oh, really?
That was overstating. Clearly overstating. It's around 15 degrees Celsius here.
Okay, I can't do the conversion, so I don't know what that is. Anyway, your co-host Jacob,
another one,
and your co-host David.
Currently leading my leaf cutter ants into battle.
Oh wait, are you actually playing Empire?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
but I did before and failed.
Oh God, I swear that it's got that 90s level of difficulty where it just doesn't give a damn about you.
Just for reference, they're talking about Empires of the Undergrowth.
Yes, Empires of the Undergrowth, which I streamed this very morning, and as we record this on June 12th, 2024, and it was a wonderful game that I am terrible at and is very difficult. And it really reminded me of games from the 90s that just don't care about the player.
Wasn't there a game called Simant in the 90s?
Yeah, that's not I never played that one, but I don't think that's a combat game. I think that's more of a
it had some combat, not much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was more about growing the colony.
Right, it is, but it had some combat in it, in that you were trying to keep your colony alive, and then sometimes you'd get attacked by other insects, and you'd have to keep your people, your ants, alive.
So the spiders bother you, but the ants don't?
I don't ask me that. It's not rational. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand it, but yes.
Well, I understand the arachnophobia, but in my case, the ants and the spiders bother me.
For some reason, ants don't bother me as much. I again don't know why, but spiders, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe because spiders have a kind of a cuteness to them. I mean, ants kind of have a cuteness to them. A little bit, whereas spiders just look at these weird alien things.
What?
Again, I'm not saying this makes sense.
It's not rational.
It's not rational at all. None of this is rational. But that's the only way I can explain it.
The reason it's a phobia. The reason it's phobia is because it's not rational.
It's completely irrational. I don't understand it. It's never gone away. It probably never will go away. I've conquered a lot of phobias, but that one I don't think I'll ever conquer. Anyway, folks. Tangent number 1. If you're keeping
it. It's been 4 minutes.
Coming in hot. So a couple months ago, back in April, we talked about one-hit wonders in terms of video games. Games that, did well and are, hey, Jack, did well and were, critically acclaimed, and then they sold well and blah, blah, but never got a sequel, never got a follow-up, never got anything. And we had a lot of fun with it. So we're like, let's revisit this topic because people had more games on their list that we never got to. And so it's like, well, it makes sense to come back to it. So here we are. We're talking about one-hit wonders, calling this part 2. And I wanted to start today with a stolen entry because Fernando brought this up in the last show, and he's absolutely right, and I should have thought of it, but I didn't. And I want to talk for a minute about the amazing game Stunt Island from 1992, made and published by Disney, of all people. This is like Disney made a flight simulator, and an actual very, very good flight simulator. You can get it on both Steam and GOG. It runs great in DOSBox, and like it's still very playable today. Like 1992, I'm kind of sad I never played this in 1992. I don't know what put me off of it. I think I was moving away from the more civilian flight simulators and more toward the combat simulators at the time. And this didn't look like it had any combat, which is incorrect. It has some. But for some reason, I never sought it out when it came out. And I should have, because for 1992, it's not just a freaking amazing flight simulator, because the graphics engine is like built in assembly. And like the graphics for 1992 are astounding. But it's also like a movie making tool, and people still use it today to make little movies. Like someone made the Top Gun Maverick trailer in Stunt Island, for example.
I might have missed that one.
I'll have to find it for you. It's pretty freaking amazing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not only a really creative game, but it's also an amazing movie tool. And like, I think because I don't know why, I think it did well back in the day. I think it was well reviewed, and I think it got, I think it did well sales wise, but I think it was the I think like a mix of things kept it from really I almost said taking off. Oh God. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't think it was I think one of the reasons I didn't buy it is because they didn't really know how to market it. Because like I remember magazine ads for it back in the day in the gaming magazines. Folks, if you're young, back in the day we had things called magazines. They were made of paper.
They were printed on paper. Dead tree format.
Yeah, they were printed on paper, and they only came out once a month, and that's how you got a lot of your gaming information. Was Nintendo had their own magazine for like 2 decades or 3, called Nintendo Power.
It lasted a long time.
Yeah. Like, didn't it just shut down within the last 5 or 10 years? Like, it was around for a very long time.
It shut down in 2012, so 12 years ago.
Wow. So almost 30, because I think it started in the mid 80s when Nintendo really started taking off. So yeah, almost 30 years. Wow.
It has been going since 1988.
Oh, wow.
Since 1988 to 2012.
So that's almost 4.
I still have some of the early issues too.
God, that's 30 some years. That's a pretty good run for a print mag. But yeah, I remember the ads for Stunt Island being a bit confusing, and so I just was not convinced that I should get it, and I really regret that, because when we played it a year or so ago in my flight sim journey, if you want to call it that, I loved it. It's like an astounding thing. It, like, the fact that not only is it like a movie tool, but it records everything you do, so you can make your own little movies. And it has these very creative little stunts you're supposed to do. Like like my favorite was bombing a police car with, as a duck. And, you had to bomb it with eggs so it would spin out of control and blow up. That was probably one of my finest gaming moments, was successfully completing that stunt. And, I'm surprised it only had the one entry, because it had Disney behind it. But again, Disney, like, I don't think Disney ever really like went 100% forward with its video games. It never felt like it was like really fully backing its own games. Like, it made games, but it kind of felt like it was a side project, for them.
They published them. They didn't really.
But this one, go ahead.
Right, they published them, but then they had smaller studios they'd picked up basically just for that. And from what I understand, during the 90s and early 2000s, that was how they handled things. It was through just little third-party operations. They didn't really have a big gaming division sort of thing.
Yeah, like this Like this one was developed. I forgot about this. This was developed by the assembly line, and their big claim to fame was making games in assembly. Which is one of the reasons why the engine,
like maniacs.
Well, yeah, but that's one of the reasons why the engine for this game in 1992 is freaking mind blowing, because you couldn't get rendered cities and things like this in 1992. Like no game before, no flight sim before it had these kind of graphics. Just absolutely astounding, and it's such a shame that nothing else ever came of it. Because was this their last game? This might have been their last game. Oh, I think it was. Yeah, this is their last game. So it's a shame that it never went anywhere. But again, it's still got a fairly good following. People still play it, and people still make movies with it. And it actually has an excellent strategy guide. I was actually able to track down a copy and finally read through it. And it's a really fun read. It took a while to find an affordable copy of that, let me tell you. But yeah, folks, if you have any interest in flight sims at all and you haven't played Stunt Island, give it a shot. It's very different. You don't have to do any movie editing at all. Like they give you the option from the very beginning. Like they ask you, do you want to edit your own movies? And you could say no, and you could just focus on the flying. But it has a fully featured movie editor in there as well, where you can place objects and move cameras or multiple cameras. Or it's really an astounding thing for 1992. And there's still really nothing else like it. There's like nothing else like this game. So I mean, if you have any interest in flight sims, my friends, I can easily recommend this one. So that is my first entry. I think we'll go around, do one entry each, and then get to our second entries. So Spaz, what's your first entry for today?
So my first entry is a little bit different because it did have a follow-up, though not in the same vein. And it had spiritual successors trying to ape the formula, but none of them have been quite as successful, not necessarily good or bad, just quite as successful as the game I'm thinking of. And this one is FTL Faster Than Light.
Well, I mean, what was the follow-up? What would you consider the follow-up?
Well, they did Into the Breach after subset games after they did
Right.
FTL.
Is
they
that
did Into the Breach, but it's not a spiritual successor to FTL. It was just a follow-up game. It didn't do as well as FTL, from what I understand.
right?
But they didn't want to do a sequel to FTL.
Huh, I can't say I blame them.
They very specifically did not want to do a sequel to FTL because I don't think they could have surpassed it. It's not possible for them to surpass it.
FTL Faster Than Light is borderline industry defining at this point.
I was gonna say it spawned its own like sub genre of roguelikes, the sector jumping.
Yeah, it did, but none of them have come close to its success.
I guess that's true. I mean,
there have been valiant attempts, no doubt about that. I mean, there's been plenty of games that have used a very similar style. Like you could say, if you played FTL, you know what to do with this game because it's very much the same. Just
like Everspace,
3D
basically. Everspace is basically a mix of FTL and Freelancer, basically. For example,
fair, yeah. I mean, the original Everspace for sure.
The first Everspace, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this spawned like its own little like all these little FTL likes. That's what I like to call them. But I see, but it still fits.
Necessarily, yeah, I think it fits our criteria because no other game has hit that same level of. Yeah, this is on the same level as FTL. The only thing that's come close, I would say, are the mod scene for FTL.
Right. What's that one mod you particularly love? What's that one called again?
Multiverse.
Multiverse, right.
Yes, which is... It's still getting updated, by the way. That mod set is still getting updated, and there are add-on mods that you can use with it. That
add-on mods for the mod?
Add-on mods for the
that are
So
great.
basically, think of it this way: you have the multiverse, that's the base mod, and then you have add-ons that go along with it that add more ships, weapons. There's an armory mod that allows you to get armor for your crew, and it increases their HP or their ability to repair, that sort of stuff. And it's just so deep that it could take an entire hour just to go into everything that goes into the mod scene.
I feel like part of that is because the whole like flight engine / combat engine of you have your little RTS ship on the left, and your enemy on the right, and you can move your dudes around. It's just a winning formula. Mostly because you can do a lot with it. Now, FTL did the quote-unquote straightforward way of having a largely linear game, though a branching linear game, where you go from point A to point B and then beat the final boss and hopefully not die trying. But you can do a lot more with just the core gameplay.
Yep.
Right. But that's the beauty of FTL. It is such a simple, elegant design that other people can branch off it in any way they want, and many people have. It's kind of like Wing Commander kind of spawned its own genre of clones. Doom also. So I would say like FTL is kind of one of those lightning in a bottle games that's so good that it's spawned basically spawned its own follow-ups basically. But yeah, by itself, it is a one-hit wonder because, there's no one else. They didn't make another one, and you know what? I got to give them props for that because so many other studios would be like, okay, we got to work on FTL too. We got to get on that, and they're like, nope.
They were adamant about not doing that.
I appreciate
by the way,
that.
Into the Breach, really good.
Yeah, Into the Breach is very good. It's very hard. I think I may beat one level. Maybe I'm not good at it, but it's very good. It's very, very good. But I'm terrible at it. I'm so bad at it. But it is an exceptionally good game. Are they the only two games they've made so far?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they were both hits. I mean, FTL was the bigger one, of course, but they were both hits. And I think FTL timed it right as well because it came out at a time where there were very few space games coming out, and people were, I think, really hungry for space games. And you had this new winning formula in space, and it really just gelled with a lot of people. So I don't know if there's ever. I mean, it's going to be tough to ever replicate that kind of success. Good on them.
Which is why I think they didn't try to.
Yeah, no, that's smart. I think it's very smart of them that they didn't. As much as everyone's like, you got to make another FTL, they're like, no. I think that's honestly very smart of them.
That's why the mod scene exists, and for what it's worth, the multiverse mod even has a compatible mod to it, compatible add-on, where you can banish the Rebel fleet. And by that I mean the Rebel fleet doesn't chase you anymore, so you could go theoretically to every node in a system if you want to,
and just have a leisurely stroll through space.
Well, I mean, it's still dangerous; things can still kill you, but you're not being chased.
It's more exploration focused rather than forward momentum focused, which does sound appealing. I think I've played that mod and I did like it. I got to get over my
experience.
Yeah, I got to get over my anxiety with that game and give the multiverse a try. I think I tried it once, but I still have the I don't want to kill George game anxiety.
Well, one of the mods that I use has a crew limit of 80 on your ship.
Dear Lord.
Therefore, you can have reinforcements as long as you have the scrap to afford them.
Dear Lord.
And you don't feel so bad about losing a
how
here or there.
How big a ship can you have that you have 80 people on it? Like, that's got to be a huge.
Well, you know how many ships are in the mod? There are a lot.
That's true.
And some of them are very, very big.
The game has been around for a while. The ships are largely PNGs. And
PNGs?
people are very patient.
Yeah, it's 12 years old at this point. God. A lot has happened in 12 years. All right, excellent choice, Spaz. Did not see that one coming. Julie, what do you have for your first entry?
Okay, well, my first entry, and I've heard tell that this is the game that Colonial Marines wishes it was when it came out. And it's a game played by, it's a game made by Feral and Feral Interactive and Creative Assembly, and that is Alien Isolation. And I know there are some people, for some reason, who they just, I guess it's just the type of game. I know some journalists have said, "Oh, I don't like this because the second half of the game is absolutely terrible," or whatever. I haven't reached the second half of the game yet, but I guess one of the reasons why I like it is so many games I've played is, you're the brave hero, you march in with your uber sword or uber gun of uberness, and the whole world eventually is laid out before you. But an Alien Isolation is the creature that is trying to hunt you. Is no matter what you throw at it, pretty much it's kind of like, bitch, please. And the whole thing is just about survival, and it is set between the first and the second movie. And those of you who've seen the movie when the Ripley is finally rescued and she's in the space station and she realizes her daughter never knew her, got old and died and had a family. But this is set when her daughter was young, and the deal is they say, well, we found the flight recorder for Nostromo, and it's on this space station called Sevastopol, and you go there with a couple of friends and end up by yourself trying to make it out of the space station alive and not get eaten. And at the start, the biggest of your worries, ironically, is not the creature, but hostile humans and cyborgs. And it's won a lot of awards, like 4 BAFTA awards, and it's just, I guess, and I like the version that's on Switch. And I think of the lighting in the game and how they use steam in the game, and just the audio is fantastic. The audio alone won a BAFTA award, so that's one of my that's my first pick.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, the retro future look in that is solid.
Yeah, cassette futurism.
Excellent.
Yeah, fantastic. That was my favorite thing about it. I played it once because former podcast co-host literally begged me to stream it on Halloween like multiple times. I'm like, nope. And I finally caved. And yeah, I can only get maybe an hour or so before I'm like, I have to stop.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Here's a good reason for the Switch version, because it's portable. You can wait till after everybody's gone to bed and just let your dog wander around in the dark, sit in the living room, turn all the lights off.
That sounds like a great idea, Julie. Yeah, I was gonna play in the dark and let my cats wander around. Yeah, that's a fabulous idea where I punch one of my cats in the dark because I'm playing Alien Isolation on the Switch. That's a terrible idea.
Well, I have a little one of my dogs is jet black, blends in and is really fierce, and it's like, well, I think he can take me, so I don't have to worry about punching him out.
Oh God, yes.
Good pick, though.
Good pick. Yes, I could just never. No. Thorsten, what about you? What's your first pick?
My first pick is actually from a company that was on top of the last podcast regarding this topic, and that's Maxis, and it's Sim Earth.
Sim Earth. I never played that one, but I know a lot of people loved it.
I loved it too, and I really don't understand why nobody made even a real spiritual successor to this game. It's, I mean, it's pretty alone in the dark. And again, I loved it. You basically build a planet over its whole 10 million lifespan, 10 billion lifespan.
It looks fascinating.
It's complicated. It's very complicated, but it's again, I don't understand why nobody made a real successor to this game.
Maybe that's why it's
so much to it.
Too complicated.
Probably.
No, I wouldn't say it was too complicated because I played it on the SNES and
wow,
as a teenager.
There was an SNES version.
Okay.
What? Wait a minute.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh my God,
it's
he's
not
right.
that complicated.
SNES and TurboGrafx and Sega CD. And it came out on the Wii in 2009? What?
Well, yeah, wasn't there a time where the sim games were released on like anything that could run them?
Well, they were huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
every sim.
Yeah. A lot of the sim games were on SNES as well during that time, during the 90s.
Wow,
So,
I didn't know
yeah.
that. Wow.
Sim Ant was ported to it as well.
Oh my God.
That's where I played it. Huh?
Because I'm going to be honest, this when this came out, this did not appeal to me at all. But I'm watching this now. I'm like, wow, this might be a thing I want to play. Yeah, this might be a thing I want to try. Yeah, actually, this looks utterly fascinating. And since you're creating a planet, I'm sure the replay value is near limitless.
Oh, it is, and I wished I could run it again on a modern computer, but it doesn't work.
But there's a DOS version. Shouldn't that work okay?
It should, but it doesn't. At least not on my machine.
Oh, I'll have to find a way to get a copy and see if I can get it running. Is this I remember hearing about this game, but it just looks really interesting.
The manual alone was fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looks interesting now. Like, again, when I was 20 or 19 when this came out, I'm like, I was 17 when this came out. Oh my God. I wasn't really, interested, but now this looks fascinating. My goodness. I might have to snag a copy. All right. Good choice. Yeah, there were a lot of these sim games that one and done's. Like, how many of these sim games were there? Were Sim Ant, Sim Tower,
Sim Earth, of course.
Sim Life, which is another one.
Sim Life. There was Sim Golf. I remember. Wasn't there a Sim Farm? Wasn't there? I think there was.
Oh yeah, totally forgot about that one.
Yeah, I think there was. Oh my God.
As a side note, Torsten, there is a kind of spiritual successor to Sim Earth, which is already set in a modern day setting, and it is called Fate of the World. It came out in 2011.
Ah, thanks.
Oh, interesting.
It's a really interesting game. I've played. I played it about 5 or 6 hours, give or take, back when it came out.
How do I own this? I don't know how I own.
You may have gotten it in a bundle.
Yeah.
It went into a lot of bundles years ago.
God, there was also Sim Health. I completely forgot about that one. You manage the healthcare system in America, apparently.
Oh boy.
Wow. Completely forgot about that one. There are a lot of sim games. Oh my goodness. Oh, Elfish. I remember Elfish. Yeah, they had a lot of these very interesting games. Sim Refinery? Okay, sure. I'm going to have to try Fate of the World since I freaking own it. And completely forgot about it. Yeah, it came out in 2011. Dear Lord.
Yep.
All right. That's an excellent pick. Jacob, what's your first pick?
Well, I didn't necessarily have one, and then you mentioned Disney, and I had to double check if we didn't talk about this one before, and somehow we haven't. We did talk about it before in the licensed games episode or the tie-in games episode because Disney's Treasure Planet had this wonderful little tie-in game called Battle of Procyon.
Yes,
excellent game,
and it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, made by the Sword of the Stars guys.
Yes,
yeah, excellent game.
So people who know what the hell they're doing. The game is actually, I found out today, available on Steam and decently playable on modern systems.
Yeah.
And by itself, it's just exceptional. Now, the story is fairly straightforward. It takes place, after the film where the protagonist decided he has not had enough of doing boat stuff and joined the Royal Navy. Or the local equivalent. And the game genuinely is kind of impressive in that despite being a Treasure Planet tie-in film, it is a genuinely good ship combat real-time strategy.
Yeah, genuinely good space Navy game. Like with space terrain and everything. It's like really, really good.
With space terrain and actually very fun depictions of like late Age of Sail, early Ironclad combat, which is an era I see in historical depictions never. Like the decent chunk of the plot of the game is that out of nowhere, these things called ironclads start showing up, and they are massive trouble for everyone because modern gun batteries largely annoy them rather than do anything to them. And you, as Captain Jim Hawkins and other ships, have to figure out how to deal with them. Yes, this also goes double. This also goes double in terms of one-hit wonders to the film. To the film it's based on, which was absolutely brilliant and never went anywhere.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It's just a shame, like it didn't do well. I think that was kind of during Disney's darker years, where like
it was 2002.
Yeah, like they were on the downswing at that point. After a multitude of successes, they kept like missing the mark. I don't feel like Treasure Planet was missing the mark. I enjoyed Treasure Planet immensely, but it wasn't a commercial success. Like a lot, like what was the other one that came out around the same time that also wasn't a commercial success? The Emperor's New Groove, which also was kind of a flop. It's a shame, really, because that was also a good one. But yeah, folks, if you haven't played Treasure Planet Battle of Procyon or for Procyon?
Battle
of Procyon.
Yes, Battle of Procyon.
I always mix that up.
Get it on Steam for like $10.
Yeah, or wait a week or two for the big summer sale and see if it goes on sale then. If you like naval space combat, like kind of Starfleet Commandy, kind of like that, it's very much in that vein, and it is very, very good. It is
also
very,
yes.
very
The developers, by the way, you mentioned. I think you slightly confused them because I don't know if they did Sword of the Stars. They did do Homeworld Cataclysm.
Yeah, same people who ended up doing Sword of the Stars. Yeah, same.
Okay,
group of folks.
That answers that.
Yeah. It's a very interesting.
So again, people that know what the hell they're doing and massively overqualified for making a Disney film tie-in game.
But they made a really good one.
Yes, that doesn't make them any less overqualified.
Yeah, so good. All right, David, what's your first entry?
All right, so I was looking at my options here, and as I wrote here in our green room that we have, I'm a little unsure how these games sold, but I know that both of these games didn't get a whole lot more content after they were made from those developers, or maybe the developer just disappeared into thin air and stuff. So I'm gonna just join Jacob here and start talking about more boats. So I mean, boats. Let me take a look here.
Boats.
There's going to be a little game I played on the PlayStation 2 that was called Naval Ops Commander. It was called Warship Gunner here in Europe.
Oh,
Yes.
Which was a boat game where you're transferred to the Second World War in a alternate reality or whatever. Where
I've heard of this. I've heard of this game.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I remember the frame rate wasn't pretty good at the time though, so it wasn't very well optimized for a PlayStation 2. But basically, you get to customize your own ship, and then you start off with a destroyer, and then you can work your way up to a battleship, or if you feel like it, go for an aircraft carrier and just launch a shit ton of aircraft.
And you can create some absolute monstrosities, memory serving.
Yes,
Indeed.
So
it does have a spiritual sequel, but go ahead.
Yes, it does have a sequel, which I don't remember were released here in Sweden at least, or maybe it did release way later.
Well, as far as I recall, the game was actually part of a series that only some of which got ported to outside of Japan.
But I know that the sequel did appear in the US as Naval Ops. Some other title. Maybe this is the sequel that I'm posting right now. I realize this is Commander, which is the sequel, so it should be Warship Gunner.
Yeah, Commander is the second one. Warship Gunner is the first one.
Yeah. I see that now.
But they have a spiritual successor in a little game.
Yes, I'm
years
about to
ago.
Yeah, you did it.
Waves of Steel.
So I was going to bring it up. So if you're interested in Naval Ops, go check that out. It's pretty much the exact same experience, but more insane. You got airdropping battleships in this.
What?
You can.
Yes.
Waves of Steel also has disco lasers, and I'm not kidding. Those are disco lasers,
and they're very effective.
They are incredibly effective.
I'm gonna have to try. I own it, and I've still never played it. I'm gonna have to fix that.
The shipbuilding aspect can be a little bit finicky to get started with, but once you get into the groove of things, it's great. It's fun.
Okay.
But I should probably reinstall that game because I haven't brought it back on my new rig here. So. Yeah, it's very
arcadey, and
I'm fine with that.
And yeah,
it's not a very serious game.
The one thing that'll bother you, Brian, is the shipbuilding. But once you get used to it, it's worth it to get used to it because kitting out your ship is very important, and how you do it matters. You can also do things like cloning your guns if you have extras that you can set up so that you have you can set them symmetrically. That's important.
Yes. I will mention, when in doubt, just stuff as many cannons onto the ship as you can and hope for the best.
Yeah. I should also note real quick here before we get the going off this one is that there were plans after 1.0 that the aircraft carriers would probably get added to Waves of Steel, but sadly the game didn't perform all that well, just like Naval Ops here that we're talking about currently. So no DLCs for aircraft carriers, sadly.
That's a shame.
I would have paid for that. Oh man,
as would I.
Same here, but no, we did not get any aircraft carriers or messed up hybrids of aircraft carrier and something else that will drive any sensible naval tactician insane.
Yeah, maybe in another timeline, but keep your eyes on this one. It's great. If Naval Ops sounds interesting, just check out Waves of Steel.
6 friends own this game, 3 of which are right here in this podcast.
Who would have thought?
Hey!
God, I should give it a try. All right. That's a good one. Yeah, I had heard of that game when I first got my PS2 and then never got around to buying that one. So I'll have to keep a lookout for it. All right, so now we're into our second games. My second game is a game that came out in 2000. It's a very different type of real-time strategy game called Sacrifice by Shiny Entertainment and Interplay. And it's kind of like Uprising and Battlezone in the fact that you're commanding a unit on the ground, and you're like in the thick of it, And
it's this one. Oh, goodness grief.
it's a great game. I was terrible at it. It's hard. It's a hard game. I never lasted that long in it. But it
feels like a fever dream playing it. I'm going to be honest with you.
You're not wrong. And the sad thing is, I tried to get it running today in order to get some footage of it. And the only way I can get it running is by unplugging my USB headset. I'm not kidding. That's the solution I found. Is if you have a USB or Bluetooth.
I know why that's happening.
Why is that happening?
I think I know why. So there are some games that will detect USB devices as a controller.
But I already had that's the thing. I already have a controller plugged in.
Oh, yes, I know.
But it will detect all of them as a controller.
Yes. So that's the thing that has to be fixed on the dev end if it's ever going to be fixed.
I don't think it's going to be fixed.
Problem. I know, but I've had that issue before when I was using my foot pedal as a push to talk toggle, and it would detect the pedal. Games would detect the pedal as a controller device, and because it only has the one button, it would cause the game to freak out and not be controllable. So that's why that happens.
The sad thing was, I got it running the one time after unplugging my USB stick, and I'm like, okay, great. Now I'm going to kill the game, try and set up OBS to record it so I can record video for today's podcast, and it wouldn't run again. It's like, God damn it. Because I also wanted to play it too. I played it back in the day and I really enjoyed it, even though I was bad at it. And I wanted to okay, I remember this one. I liked it and I was bad at it, but it's such a unique, different fever dream, good word, good phrase, Jacob, of a game that I'm like, this should totally count as a one-hit wonder, but I couldn't get footage of it. That's why you see Stunt Island on the stream. But yeah, Sacrifice, if you can get it running, is a very unique real-time strategy experience that if you have any interest in strategy games, you should totally play. But yeah, it's hard to get running if you have any modern Windows, and I don't think there's any way to fix it, really. At least not for me. I got it running once and never again. So I don't know what to do. But yeah, back in the day, I played the heck out of it because it was so interesting. And oh yeah, the voice cast. I forgot about the voice cast. That's right. Tim Curry, Jennifer Hale. My God. It had a really great voice cast. Yeah, and it's just a really good game that I think it came out on the downswing of real-time strategy games. I think there was kind of a burnout of real-time strategy games by 2000, and so people weren't buying as many of them. So I don't think it did super well, even though it was critically acclaimed, which is a shame. That's why we never saw a follow-up, I think. But yeah, that's my second pick. What about you, Spaz? What is your second pick?
My second pick's I would say it's an interesting one. Came out, the English version, I would say, came out in 2010 on Steam.
Mm-hmm. You know things are going to be interesting when Spaz says the English version.
Well, the reason I say it's the English version is because one of the things the game is most known for is its excellent translation. And the game is Racketeer and Item Shop's Tale.
Oh, I remember that one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
God,
it's the
a million.
It's the one with capitalism ho.
This is the one where it spawned many memes, including that one.
It is very funny.
It's very well written. It has it's just very hilarious dialogue and interplay between the characters. And the combat is fun. The haggling in your shop when you're trying to get people to buy all the stuff you're trying to sell from your dungeon runs, that's fun too. And there have been a few games that have been like it, but nothing has come close to its success, in my opinion.
Well, this is another one I'm going to have to install because I somehow again own it and
Right with a gamepad. It is best with a gamepad.
Gamepad. Got
It does look like a console port and a somewhat dodgy one.
But yeah, it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Like most of these
with
reviews,
good reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if it's got the real-time combat, I definitely have to check that out. Yeah, I completely forgot about this one. Good pick. God, 2010. God, that feels like so long ago. God, I guess in gaming,
it really does feel like a long time ago.
I mean, I guess in gaming, it is a long time ago. That's like another eon. Like, I think the 360 and PS3 were still going concerns back in 2010, right?
Yes.
That's how long ago that was. Like multiple consoles.
I have recently heard the Xbox 360 is now a retro console.
Well, yeah, they're about to shut down the store. I think next month. So if anyone has if anyone has a 360, there's still some good games on there if you want to buy them, like Birds of Steel. Go get it. Oh, that could be another one, huh? All right, Julie, what's your second pick?
My second pick goes back to 2006 when it was first released, although I played on Switch, of course. The winner up to BAFTA awards, and well-deserved for artistic achievement and original score, and the game is Okami. What other game can you say where your primary weapon is a paintbrush? And the reason I think I like this, and for those of you who haven't seen the art style, the entire game is very much like a Japanese ink wash painting. And back in the day when dinosaurs roamed the earth, so I lived in Korea for a year and a half, and it was not by choice at first. I felt like I had been sentenced to it at first, but then by the time I left, it was, no, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. And I've been to Japan twice, and I absolutely love everything about the art style. And primarily, it is the art style. It is the it's the music, which is just fantastic, and about bringing life. It's sometimes I watch this game, and when I play it, you paint an area with your celestial paintbrush, and you just see all the flowers come back to life in a barren area. Or if you need, for example, a tool, which is like, for all of a sudden I can't remember the tool. A little prong on it, it's on the end of a rope. You throw it up at the top of a wall.
Grappling
hook? Grappling hook. Yes, thank you. You need a grappling hook. The screen kind of becomes flat. You paint your grappling hook in, and then it goes three-dimensional again. So the big attraction for me is the artwork and the way you interact with the game. You can just use and I don't know about other platforms, but on the Switch, you can react with the whole game just with your finger on the touch screen. And great game, and just fantastic.
Awesome. Jacob, since you have a hard stop in a few minutes, Thorsten, you mind if Jacob goes next?
No. I was addressing these two.
Well, the thing is, I don't really have anything I can come up with in 10 minutes, so I think I'll just stick to one title.
Okay, that's totally fine.
Fair enough.
No worries. So Thorsten, do you have a second title?
Yeah, of course. I've always 2 or 3 or 4.
I guess we'll have to revisit this again in a little while. I guess we'll have to revisit this topic.
I fear so too. Okay. My second title would be one even older than my previous choice, and from 1985.
Ooh.
And it's a game by Noah Falstein, who should ring a few names if you like Lucasfilm Sims and adventures, and it is Coronis Rift.
Yes.
Coronis Rift?
Yeah, I've linked it already. You're basically playing a scavenger on an alien planet, that has to search for derelicts and similarly at the same time avoid the planet's defense systems. And simply, wow. Still, after all those years. I don't really get why nobody made a real successor to this game, except, of course, Scavenger as before. But even that one is in a way limited compared to Corona's Rift, in my opinion.
The graphics for 1985 look absolutely amazing. Like, that must have been mind-blowing for its time.
So swear. I mean, it came out at the same time as Rescue on Fractalus. It's basically the same graphics engine, but both games were pretty different. And really, if any dev hears me, please make a game like this.
Wow, it never came out for DOS. Maybe that's why I never played it, because I never had any of these other computers.
I mean,
the Atari version was DOS, by the way.
Was it?
Yes. It wasn't PC DOS, but it was DOS.
Oh.
Because, and I know this because I still have my Atari 800 and Atari 800 XL, and they use DOS 1 through 3.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought DOS. I thought DOS was solely a IBM PC thing. Oh. Did not know that at all.
No, in fact, to run most games, actually, yeah, I would say to run probably about 80 to 90% of the games that I have for it, you had to put in the DOS disk first, then and so you loaded up the OS, the DOS, and then you could put in the game disk and then run that.
I think that was wasn't that a thing in older computers? Like, didn't the first IBM PCs, weren't they similar in that regard, where you had to put in DOS first? Because I remember a big deal about the Tandy I got in 1986 was that DOS was integrated. You don't need to insert the disk first.
Exactly.
It's already in there. Okay.
Yeah, because I started on DOS 1 and then moved up to DOS 3 by the time. Yeah. Yeah.
My little handheld has DOS 7 on it. I don't think I ever used DOS 7 back in the day. I think I stopped at 6. I don't even think I knew there was a DOS 7, but apparently there was. DOS is so great. I didn't know. Because, yeah, it's not listed for MS-DOS. It's listed for the Atari 8-bit. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Is that the 800? Is that the one you're talking about?
So the 8-bit, when it reads Atari 8-bit, that refers to the Atari 400, 800, and 800 XL, probably also including the 7200 in there as well.
Oh yeah, no, Moby Games is a list: the 400, 800, 1200 XL, 600 XL, 800 XL, 65 XE. Wow. 130 XE, 800 XE, and XEGS. Wow. That's a lot of... God, computers moved so much faster back then.
They really did. I mean, I had the 800, and then about a year later, we got the 800 XL. And never looked back.
Then there's the 800 XE, which is a German version, apparently. Thank God.
I saw it when I lived in Germany, but I didn't have one.
Computer, like, people who weren't around might not know how fast things moved in the 80s and 90s. Holy crap. It moved so quickly.
I've got to be clear here. The 800 XE, I know not a single person that owned one. Curiously.
They weren't very common.
Most people owned the CXL.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone I knew who had an Atari probably had an XL when I was growing up.
Yeah, those are the popular ones, weren't they? The XLs. Weren't they the popular ones?
Yeah, I mean they were definitely a step up from the base 800.
It's so funny.
But the games were compatible with both.
Which is nice. That was smart. That was very smart on their part. Yeah, that's why I never heard of. I mean, I think you've brought this game up before, Thorsten, but I keep forgetting about it because it was never on DOS, which is a shame. Well, MS DOS. That's okay. Let's be clear. IBM PC, MS DOS, that DOS,
That DOS.
that DOS. Apparently, there are multiple DOSes I didn't know about. So wrapping up, David, you want to hit with your second game?
Yeah, sure. Once again, I'm not entirely sure how well this one performed back in the day, but once again, this was another game that didn't get much of a follow-up or inspired a lot of other games. But from what I remember when the first like previews and stuff came out for this game, was that this game, Engine Racing, was made by some of the people behind Wipeout, for those who have played those anti-grav races on PlayStation.
Wait, which game?
Engine Racing.
Engine?
It stands for Next Generation Racing.
Oh.
So basically, you race around with airplanes instead of race cars.
Oh,
so, yeah.
hello.
Oh, yeah. So you can race around with an A10 or F22 or similar stuff. So it's all the good stuff in there when we're talking about jets. Even the Harrier's in here as well, but it's a VTOL functionality is, of course, not modeled in here, so for that.
What the fudge?
So basically, there's different teams you join. Some of them are like, yeah, this is the American National Air Regional Master, something like that, and it's pretty cool. Like they try to build like a universe where humanity is about to almost get into this Wipeout-esque hover racing or whatever, but well, we have airplanes for now in this game. And then you can modify your planes, upgrade them, and when you upgrade, as an example, canards or winglets, they actually appear on the plane. So planes will actually change shape the more you upgrade them, which is pretty damn cool for the time. And you know that I like Armored Core, so seeing those kind of modifications being realized on your airplane, yeah, it was pretty damn cool to see. But yeah, it didn't inspire a lot of sequels or any inspired air racers at all. So there have been a few on Steam. I think I have played Skydrift on Steam.
Oh, Skydrift is good.
Yeah, but it's been years. I have no idea.
These are the same folks that also made Quantum Redshift on the Xbox.
Way to look at that.
You know, that I have played that one. That was very good. That was a very good game. Very hard, but very good.
David, check the current demo fest on Steam. I've seen several air racers coming out.
Yeah, I haven't been diving too much into the Steam Next Fest that's going on right now. So
it's overwhelming. I always get overwhelmed in Next Fest because there's like a zillion demos.
Well, it's nice to see so much creativity being on full display. So
I appreciate it. No, I think it's a great thing for gamers. I think and developers. Apparently, developers get a lot of engagement via demos, especially through Next Fest. So I'm really glad Steam has brought back the concept of the demo, because it was not there for a long time. Yeah, there's so many demos. Yeah, folks, to make this a little timely, Next Fest is going on right now, and woof, 11 billion demos, which is great. But my God, I've only played like 2 of them, and no, I've played 2, and so far they've been great. I don't know if we're gonna play more because I keep playing one. The one I keep playing is called Reality Break, which is kind of like a spacey ARPG that's really, really good. I also played Heart of the Machine, the new Arkin game, which is very confusing. But that's Arkin.
That's how they do things.
I love them, but oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I say that out of all the love.
Oh yeah. Nothing but love for Arca. They make amazing games, but sometimes my brain is like, no, what's happening? I don't understand. Good list today, everyone. We should revisit this topic again because it sounds like there were a lot. I mean, I had a few more I could touch on. It sounds like other people did as well. So this is definitely one we should revisit at some point. But friends, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for hanging out with us. Next week on the show, we're going to talk about fast travel because we brought it up last week and we were like, that should be its own topic. So here we go. It's going to be its own topic next week. But thank you so much for hanging out today. Great chat as always. And I don't know what I'm streaming tomorrow. I have so much on my list, but nothing's really clicking with me. So I don't know what I'm going to stream tomorrow. I'm going to look at my list and see what jumps out at me because I have a big list. So we'll see. I don't know. But hope you all have a great day. Be safe, be well, take care of each other. Please get vaccinated if you haven't already. I can't believe I have to keep saying that, but I'm gonna until this pandemic's over. Wear your masks, get all your shots, flu shots, everything. Thank you as always to our patrons who help to pay for things like Restream and electricity. And remember, always wear your helmet. Have a great day, everyone.